2022, the year that never seems to end. I say that because in the past 12 months, a lot has happened, and it feels like forever ago that I set up the play button Paludarium. It of course was the very first video that I did this year, and I'm still enjoying it to this very day. It's grown in a lot since construction, especially down in the water feature. The fish are thriving as well. In fact, they've even bred a few times. I hope there's more to come soon though, because I absolutely love seeing them swim around the water. Even with all of these positives, there was an issue with the setup. Unbeknownst to me, a few months ago the pump on the right side here got unplugged. As a result, you'll see that the moss is not quite as lush on this side. That said, you can see that it's finally making a comeback. Speaking of comebacks, we have to talk about the Suriname toads. I've had them for just over 2 years at this point, but there was a serious issue that occurred in April. These toads are somewhat finicky. Occasionally they'll go off of food for a week and resume eating as usual thereafter. They did this earlier in the year, but it persisted for much longer than a week, and it really concerned me. I checked everything imaginable and I could not seem to figure out what the issue was. That was, of course, until I felt a stinging sensation on my hand as I did maintenance. Initially, I thought it was due to acidity in the water, but it was actually the result of a heater malfunction. As it would turn out, there was a minor electric current in the water that I was only able to detect through a cut on my hand. I feel terrible that it took me so long to diagnose, but I'm happy to report that the toads are doing better than ever, even after the move. I was concerned they'd stress a lot from all of that, but they continued without a blip. My only complaint is that there still doesn't appear to be any breeding activities. I've been throwing around the idea of potentially getting a few more to help increase the odds of that, but I'm unsure if it's the best call since these two are so established. I'm curious to know though, what would you do if you were me? Let me know down in the comments. While we're talking about mishaps, I should probably also mention that unfortunately, we lost Mia the Betta. If you recall, I was treating her for dropsy around the same time as the toad mishap. I took care of her accordingly and all appeared to be well. However, in the following 2 months or so, it kept coming back, and after the 3rd or 4th time, she succumbed to the illness. It was pretty sad, but animals get sick just like we do sometimes, and unfortunately, it can't always be resolved. Even so, we still have Wasabi the samurai Betta, and he's doing pretty well. He's a spunky little character that I love having around. I personally don't think his tank looks that great after the move though, so I think I'll do an overhaul once I put him into the new animal room. And truthfully, that's the case for a lot of these enclosures. I'll be dismantling the vast majority of them in place of new and better setups. Because of this, I haven't been doing much other than general maintenance, such as water changes. Don't worry, I'm keeping all of the animals, but just putting a few of them in new homes. I'm so excited to share that with you all in upcoming videos as we build out the new animal room. That should all be happening in the next week or two, so I'm really excited about it. I just have to finish a few things first, like this feature wall. I'm so ready to be done with this, show you the completed entirety of this space, and move back to focusing on projects. And truthfully, I didn't even want to mention it again until it was done, but I'd be kidding myself if I pretended it wasn't a huge part of this year. I know it will all pay off in the end, but 4 months of renovations in this space alone is more than enough for me. Other than renovations, a huge theme of this year is collaborations. I've done more this year than any other one previously, and that's likely to continue into 2023. Primarily, I went to Florida, which is kind of like my home away from home at this point. There, I did my first build for venomous snakes at Nace's house. That was an awesome build and a lot of fun. We also toured Camp Kennan twice, which is always a great time. However, the most collaboration no doubt happened at the Moorcroft Conservation Foundation. Here I met Charlie for the first time and all of his turtle friends. We toured it a few times and ended up doing an entire pond build with Greg's Turtle Haven and Dan the Turtle Man. I already knew Greg, but I ended up befriending Dan through all of that as well. So not only did we get to build something awesome for a mutual friend and his snapping turtles, but we also formed a great friendship in the process. All of this resulted in me seeing Geomyda spangleri, which I'll eventually add to the animal room, and of course getting one of the coolest turtles around, at least to me, Cookie the hybrid snapping turtle. Charlie was fostering her originally, and she needed to go to a good home, so he asked me about it. I happily obliged, and here we are nearly a year later. She's just about outgrown her 75-gallon aquarium at this point, so it's only a matter of time before I have to move her into something larger. We also toured Blake's Exotic Animal Ranch, but the most recent collaboration of course was with Fritz on the saltwater aquarium. Till now I've really been enjoying it, and it's slowly becoming an established setup. Everything is doing well thus far, and I can't wait to do more with saltwater in the future. This was a highly requested build, along with the African dwarf frog Paludarium, which I did last week. They're also doing awesome, but that leads into my hopes for 2023. I want to circle back on projects and concepts that I've had for many years that I just wasn't able to do in the previous space. Veterans of the channel are going to understand what I mean by that, but I've already said too much. You're just going to have to wait and see what happens next. I've been consistently creating content since the tail end of 2016. Over the course of that time, there are plenty of projects that I'm very fond of, but this year had more than a few. The Crystal Gems Aquarium, Eco Ball Bryparium, Shishiadoshi Bamboo Fountain, and Ancient Ruins Paludarium are some of my absolute favorite projects I've ever done. And in saying all of that, that's really just the tip of the iceberg as to what happened in 2022. I don't know what it was with this year, but it was pretty relentless. There was a lot going on in my personal life. I had to do a lot here at the new place, a lot more than I expected, and it's still going on, but I'm very thankful for the opportunity to even have a place like this. I mean, it's really cool, and I'm so excited to share with you all what's next. I know it's going to change everything, and as I said earlier, I'm tired of talking about it. I just want to show you already. But if I'm going to be honest, and I've never really experienced this since 2016 or, when I started consistently uploading on the channel, I legitimately got burnt out. And when I say that, I'm not saying that I was sick of the animals or sick of producing content or anything of the sort. If anything, I want to produce content more. But what I mean to say is that physically and mentally, I got really drained out. And this past week with the holiday and everything, I definitely recouped some of my energy and ambition to be able to move forward. I'm still getting back to it, but just with having to fix up the old place to sell, having to fix up this place to be able to move in it, while also making sure that all of my animals were all right. And on top of many, many other things, it was just a lot going on. And pretty much since Go, actually it was since Go in 2022, because there was some stuff happened in the family. It was just as soon as 2022 started, it was nonstop throughout the entire thing. And I just want to thank you for your support this year, because it actually was one of the craziest years for the channel. I don't know the exact numbers. I didn't have the time to go through and get them all as I would in past videos, but we got basically 400,000 subscribers this year, which is insane. It's crazy. I never would have thought I even would have got to 400,000, and I'm not really chasing the numbers or anything. I'm just doing what I like to do, and I got the best job in the world. There's no other way to say it, but to still see all that, it's so humbling to me, and I really appreciate all of your support throughout the years, throughout this year specifically. And whenever I make these videos, these sort of retrospective videos, they always kind of end in this long and drawn out monologue like this, because I like to keep it real and share my heart with you. And I don't really think there's too much more left that I have to say for this year. I'm glad that it's over, but at the same time, even though it was a hard year, it was a good year. So I think that's a good place to end it. As always, Serpa Squad, I thank you so much for your continued support. I cannot wait to share with you all what's next in the coming year. Things are I keep saying it, but I can't wait to actually show you. Things are about to get very crazy up in here. So again, thank you so much. Have a very happy new year. And until next time, take care